All right. Um, so this study was conducted in collaboration with the Center for Body Image Research and Policy, located at the University of Missouri. And so with this study, I wanted to look at really how body image is experienced during COVID-19, and to what extent it influences eating behaviors, with a particular emphasis of looking at gender differences. I should clarify cisgender differences between men and women. I'd like to acknowledge my co-authors, Dr. Virginia Ramsire-Winter, Jacqueline Siegel, Lillian Saviano. She is located at the School of Social Work as well. Mikey Mercedes, and finally, Dr. Antoinette Landor. So the COVID-19 pandemic has really amplified known risk factors for disordered eating and negative body image. And there's been an emerging body of literature that's really begun to examine, the psychological effects of COVID-19 related anxiety. Swami and colleagues located in the UK suggest that anxiety associated with COVID-19 is related to worsened body image among both men and women. Other studies suggest that individuals with current or previous eating disorders are at increased risk of negative body image. And individuals with experiences of weight stigma may be at risk of disrupted eating behaviors as well. Rogers and colleagues underscore COVID-19 related conditions that really put individuals at risk of this disordered eating, which includes changes in self-care routines and health behaviors like disruptions in eating and exercise and sleep, reduced social activities and interactions due to social distancing, increased usage of media and online platforms that typically promote appearance-related anxiety, and then also messages related to maintaining or improving your health to prevent COVID-19. And so there's been this alarming uptick in fat-phobic cultural messaging during the pandemic, including weight-related fear-mongering. I don't know if any of you all have heard of like the quarantine 15, kind of similar to like the freshman 15, discourse. And so this heightened stress and anxiety of the pandemic, coupled with this increased weight stigmatizing messaging, really presents risk factors for unhealthy eating and concern about weight gain. And when I say unhealthy eating, I should clarify like disordered eating, including dieting to lose weight. And so while COVID has, intensified like this social environment that's been really conducive to worsened body-related attitudes and eating behaviors, most of these studies have looked exclusively at negative body image, or what a lot of us kind of refer to as body dissatisfaction. And so studies looking at positive body image are needed to gain a more holistic understanding of the relationships between body image and health behaviors during COVID. And there's been a recent push among body image scholars to look more at what does it mean to have positive body image. Since again, the literature has really largely focused on negative body image and its pathological aspects. And so while negative body image relates to feelings of dissatisfaction toward the appearance of one's body, positive body image is a more broad construct that doesn't merely consist of positive feelings about appearance, but actually extends beyond that to involve positive ways of living and inhabiting the body. And I'll try to be a little more specific when I review how we measured that in this study. So an examination of eating disorder risk and prevention is really prudent, but we also need studies examining eating behaviors beyond those associated with clinical disordered eating classification, such as dieting to lose weight, which should be considered. And so again, this includes, normalized pervasive dieting behaviors, often affiliated with diet culture, which promotes weight loss goals through food restriction. And again, dieting to lose weight can consist of disordered eating. Includes fasting, skipping meals, or using dieting pills, specifically with the intention of losing weight. Dieting is largely influenced by social and cultural narratives about how bodies should look, and again is fueled by weight-related beliefs rooted in fat phobia. And so body dissatisfaction has really been characterized as what's called a normative discontent among feminist scholars, meaning that it's almost predictable or expected that women are dissatisfied with their bodies, which can be for a lot of different reasons. But recent studies have begun to investigate differences in body image in men as well, with the recognition that social and cultural pressures can have adverse influence on men's relationship with their bodies as well. Gillen from 2015 found that there were actually no gender differences in the relationship between positive body image and unhealthy dieting behaviors in a racially and ethnically diverse sample of young adults. Which indicated that positive body image was a protective factor against unhealthy dieting behavior for both men and women. But we need additional evidence, right, to situate this within the context of COVID-19. And so the purpose of this study was to examine the relationship between body appreciation, which is one way to measure positive body image, which I'll touch on in a second, and 3 dependent variables within the context of COVID. So the first dependent variable is fear of weight gain, which was measured as those who answered affirmatively to the question of, I'm more concerned about gaining weight than becoming infected with COVID-19. We also looked at dieting to lose weight and intuitive eating, which I'll talk about in just a second. And we tested for moderation effect of body appreciation and gender to see if there were differences or similarities for men and women in the sample. So body appreciation is a measurable construct of positive body image that again extends beyond being satisfied with the way the body looks. It includes body respect, acceptance, self-care, and a general gratitude toward the body, even when it doesn't quote unquote measure up to external beauty ideals. And body appreciation has been found to be associated with protective health behaviors, such as wearing sunscreen, seeking out medical care, and protective against risky dieting behavior. So whereas dieting is rooted in food restriction and body control, intuitive eating is kind of its conceptual opposite, is how we can think about it. It's a style of eating that relates to being more attuned to the body and responding to the body's physiological cues of hunger. And it's rooted in a more adaptive and flexible relationship with food. Intuitive eating has been studied extensively in samples of adult women, and it's associated with various positive mental health and behavioral outcomes as well. So what are our findings? This shows an illustration of an interaction effect that we found in the data. So this is an interaction effect of body appreciation and gender on dieting behavior. So you'll see that the y-axis is body appreciation scores, and then the x-axis is dieting, so yes or no. And then we have 2 lines kind of going in different directions, right? Blue is for men and red is for women. So basically this shows us that higher levels of body appreciation, which again is a measure of positive body image, was associated with lower odds of dieting in women, which supports previous research and, kind of conceptually makes sense. If you're more likely to appreciate your body, you may be less likely to engage in dieting behavior to lose weight. But the opposite was true for men in the sample. Body appreciation was actually associated with higher odds of dieting to lose weight. And so it's possible that men who score highly on body appreciation view dieting as a healthy self-care behavior. Men may view dieting as an act of body respect and a means of improving their health and performance. Further, during COVID in particular, some men may choose to engage in dieting as a means of self-care and control in an otherwise volatile environment. And so while appreciating and respecting the body may protect against women's choice to diet to lose weight, it's possible that men's conception of appreciating and respecting the body equates to achieving weight control. So here are some of our other main findings. So in terms of fear of weight gain, body appreciation was not significantly related to fear of weight gain. We thought that it might protect against fear of weight gain, and that wasn't a significant relationship in the data. So given the heightened anxiety during COVID, intrinsic factors related to positive attitudes toward the body may not actually be sufficient for preventing men and women from being concerned about gaining weight. Despite research consistently linking body appreciation to positive mental health, the chaos of COVID may have produced anxiety about the body, even among those who would otherwise be protected from such attitudes. And then in terms of intuitive eating, we found that body appreciation was positively related to intuitive eating for both men and women, which supports previous studies. So again, for those who have higher levels of body appreciation and respect, they're more likely to engage in intuitive eating behaviors. So I think what's interesting here is that even though body appreciation was not protective against fear of weight gain, it was still positively linked to intuitive eating. And so I think this underscores the importance of positive body image and influencing behavior, even if it doesn't always influence personal body attitudes. So these findings also add another layer of contradiction. How is it possible that men in this sample with high body appreciation scores are more likely to diet, to lose weight, and also more likely to engage in intuitive eating? That sounds kind of contradictory. And this is especially confounding given the evidence suggests, intuitive eating and disordered eating are negatively correlated, right? We kind of see those as conceptually opposed. But just as motivations for dieting may vary by gender, it's possible that intuitive eating is conceptualized differently by men and women, where dieting has traditionally been characterized as a feminine trait. Intuitive eating, with its emphasis on physiological sensations of eating, may be a more socially appropriate means of weight management and weight loss in men. So that's a lot of information. What does this all mean? COVID-19 presents unique challenges to the attitudes and behaviors related to the body. There's important implications for healthcare and mental health providers. Even though body appreciation was not protective against the concern for weight gain, it was still positively linked to intuitive eating. So again, this underscores the importance of positive body image and influencing behavior, even if it doesn't always influence attitudes. For women in particular, body appreciation serves as an important protective factor. It promotes healthy eating behaviors that reject oppressive social attitudes about women's bodies. And this is particularly meaningful given that during a time of heightened collective stress and anxiety, positive body image maintains an important role in protecting against dieting in women. Practitioners should consider promoting positive body image and intuitive eating practices as a tool for helping clients think positively and holistically about their eating behaviors during COVID, and to also protect against these messages rooted in weight stigma. And given the complex findings for men, additional research needs to clarify these predictors, right, of body image and intuitive eating. And one thing I think is really important to note is that, a lot of the psychology research on body image is very much focused on white women, particularly young adult and educated white women, because a lot of their convenient samples come from psychology departments, right? These are psychology students. And so while we had an intention of trying to get a more diverse sample through Amazon MTurk, I don't think I listed the demographic breakdown, but I believe the breakdown was about 70% of the sample was white, and we actually had a majority of the sample being men. And so I think that presents a really crucial limitation, as well as there's underrepresentation in terms of diverse gender identity and sexual orientation as well. And so I bring that up because I think that not only is that research incredibly overlooked in the body image field, but that particularly during COVID-19, and when we talk about fat phobia and weight stigma, a lot of times those messages are very racialized. And so I wanted to acknowledge that as well, and in terms of the interpretation of these findings, which is very limited, again, because the majority of the sample was white. And so I think I'll end there. I'm a little over time, so thank you.